Hello friends and welcome to Sequin Girly Creates. Today's episode is sewing this or that. Thank you to the Curated Curvy who came up with this idea, having listened to the Love to Sew podcast, episode 235, where they did this, and she decided to do a vlog about it. And Christine of Gemini Stitches and Sew Carol have also done one. So here is my sewing this or that. Sorry for that noise, that was the wind making the door shut. Before I start, I'll just tell you what I'm wearing. I'll pop a picture in up here. I am in my Seasons of East Summer in New York dress. Today I've worn a long sleeve top underneath because it's another grey August day in the UK, but I'm loving it. It's a perfect transitional dress. Let's start with part one, which is sewing prep. There's four parts altogether, and part one, sewing prep. Number one, when I'm shopping, new or stash busting. Now, I asked my Instagram followers and they were correct. I am stash busting. I am on a fabric ban and I'm really trying to shop from my stash. It's not always the case, but right now I am definitely stash busting. Number two, PDF versus paper pattern. I am a paper pattern person. However, I will buy PDFs, but I'll then have them printed by someone like the Fold Line or Fabuloso. And so even if I buy a PDF, I have it made as a paper pattern. And then of course, number three, cutting or tracing. I am mostly a tracer, particularly because I buy paper patterns and I want to be able to use them again. Sometimes if it's a pattern I know that I will easily be able to resize or I'm unlikely to use again, I will cut it. If I've bought the PDF and had it printed, I sometimes will cut it because I know I can just have it reprinted again, but mostly I'm a tracer. And then number four in this section, muslin or just go for it. Now I call them toiles, toile or muslin, the same thing. I am mostly make a wearable muslin, wearable toile, because I don't like making something that's then just going to sit there. But I have started just making like one piece of an outfit, like a project, to see how that bit works. Or sometimes I'll cut it out in the fabric I want and I'll baste it together before I permanently stitch it to test it. But I do like, when it's something completely new and different, to make a wearable toile or muslin. Part two, fabric. In store or online? I have to say, I think I am trapped in my decision here. So I am an online shopper because the choice and value is better. I do like to go and feel the fabric, as a lot of people say, but I'm getting better at reading and understanding what the fabric types are. So I am an online shopper. Number two of this section, knit versus woven. Can you guess my answer? Knit, of course it's knit. I like woven too. I do a lot of woven sewing, but knit is my go-to, especially when I need a quick, satisfying project. Number three, tumble dry versus line drying. If you've seen any of my shorts and things like this, I love to line dry, and I don't own a tumble dryer, so I have no choice, and that's a personal choice as well. Environmentally, I don't want to use a tumble dryer. Number four, rotary versus scissors. I am a traditional scissor girl for lots of reasons, including the fact that I just didn't get the success I wanted when I tried rotary cutting, and often I am cutting in an unusual environment, such as putting a big piece of wood on the bed or on the dining room floor. So maybe if I had a cutting table I might be different, but for me it's scissors all the way. And ever since I was a child, it's don't use the fabric scissors for anything else. My mum was very clear about that. Next section then is about construction. So number one, follow the pattern or wing it. I generally follow the pattern the first time I sew something until I know differently, or I get to a bit where I know what I'm doing. I do sometimes, if I can't work out what the pattern says, I'll just wing it. I'll look at pictures and so on and I'll just work it out. But I'm generally a follow the pattern to an extent. Number 2 in this section, bias versus interfacing. I do not like bias, and I'm also not a big fan of facings. I am yet to find something that makes me truly happy with this. Bias is definitely not my friend, and I want to make it my friend. But for now, I would say facings, but I will sometimes stitch them down all the way around. I can't stand that flipping out thing. It drives me nuts. Serge versus French seams. I will interlock a seam any day, and this is often where I'll go rogue on a pattern and I'll interlock all the edges before I start, or do it at a different time. I know how to do French seams. At this point, I'm not that bothered. Number 4, button versus zip fly. Haven't really sewn trousers that would have a button closure. I've done culottes with a zip. That's the train if you can hear it. So I would probably say zip fly, but I don't think I've done enough of that type of clothing to be sure yet. Number 5, sewing buttons by hand or by machine. By hand every time, because I can get it exactly where I want and sort of adjust it as I go. Number 6, fusible versus sewn in interfacing. I've never used sewn in interfacing. I didn't even know what it was, and I think a lot of people have said that. But if you give me my ultimate choice, the answer is no interfacing. I get it, I use it. I used to use it a lot when I did bag making, but generally when I'm making clothes, I just don't do it because I don't like the way it makes them feel. Number 7, snip as you go or all at once. What do you think I chose? Shout it at the screen. Snip all at once. Christine said she's got a machine that snips for her. I was like, what? So looking into that, but yeah, I'm a snip at the end kind of person. And number 8, press as you go or all at once. I am a press as I go because it's one of the things I've really learned makes a difference to the quality of the finish. So I'm definitely a press as I go. Final section is sewing habits. Let's see if you can guess which of these I am. So number 1, late night versus daytime. Did you choose daytime? Because I'm definitely not a late night sewer. You'll find me in bed watching TV. If I could choose, and the option isn't on there, I would go for morning. I can be found sewing at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm one of those people that once I'm awake, I'm awake. Next one, slow and steady or frantic. Now, if you've been listening to my last sort of 10 vlogs, I've talked about this. What do you think? I am now a slow and steady. I want to enjoy the journey. I don't want to rush to the end. I want to embrace the joy of the hobby, and also frantic is pushing me towards that fast sewing, like fast fashion, which I don't want it to be. So that is not for me anymore. I do have to check myself sometimes, and if you want to hear more about this, it's in my Sewing Mojo video, which was I think it was episode 21 or 22. And the last one is tidy as you go or one big tidy. What do you think I went for? One big tidy. And that one big tidy isn't necessarily after one project. It might be after a couple of projects, and sometimes it's because if I'm sewing like in the morning before I start work and then a little bit at lunchtime, and a little bit in the evening, I am bundling things up and putting them back on my sewing table, because I might have been doing a bit of ironing in the sitting room or gone to a different room to do this bit, or I might have gone out in the garden to do a bit of cutting on a bit of wood, depending on the weather. So I am very much a sort of bundle it up and hang on to it and then go, oh, I need a big tidy. So I'm definitely a one big tidy kind of person. Liz, the baker that sews, says she tries to leave her sewing area tidy after every time she finishes. Much respect. Doesn't work for me. I like to blame it on my creative. Well, I hope you enjoyed hearing my sewing this or that. If you would like to join in, then I nominate you, because I think it's a great one for everybody to take part in. The menopause sewer, I'd love you to do it, to join in, to keep your channel going as you're so new, and also anyone out there who would like to. Don't forget, Christine and I have started a hashtag called #SmallSewingChannel. If you know a small channel, let us know. If you are a small channel, let us know. If you can promote other people on Instagram and on your channel too, that would be great. Let's all use the hashtag #SmallSewingChannel to make it easy to find other small sewing channels as well. You could do it for yourself in your description, in your videos, but also for other people. Let's make a movement. I talk about it in my Sunday Sews episode 22, I think it was. Oh, 23, I think. Let's check this. Yes, episode 23 or 22, I don't know, I've lost track. And in there I talk about it because we want to help everybody to find those small little channels that YouTube might not put on the recommended page. Hope you have a great rest of the week. Bye.